Hi there, welcome to our channel. I'm Vic.
I'm Nick.
I'm Stan.
And I'm Andrew.
And we are NV Board Gaming. And today we're looking at the Kickstarter Merchants of the Dark Road. This is a game designed by Brian Surrey and published by Elf Creek Games. Nick is going to go through how you play, and then we're going to give our reviews.
All right, welcome to the table set up here for a two-player game of Merchants of the Dark Road. And just so you know, the components here are not the retail version, it is the Kickstarter version. So you will see some upgraded things, such as the quartz might be the upgraded, coins, and things of that nature are not the retail version. So, other than that, the game's going to play the same. We're going to go over a little bit of what we're doing in this game. We're not going to give a rules overview necessarily, just a little bit of what you're doing to get a feel for what's going on and what you're doing on your turns. So we have our little wagon here all set up right there. We're going to have these 7 dice that we're going to be moving up and triggering off different actions here and moving our wagons accordingly. We've got a horseshoe that we start with that helps us get a +1, -1 on our movement. And I just happen to have a lantern because of the hero I started with, and I can show that as well. The heroes are all over here at Ringway Inn, but we start with one right here. And mine, you can see, if there's no glare, that I get a lantern just to start. And I can deliver this hero as well. They want to go to Farglin, and that says right at the bottom. So let's go over, I think the most important thing is what you're doing on your turn. Also, I'll note that we do start with a deed here that gives us a little endgame objective, something to aim for. This one says money, so getting money, you can get that. They're all different over here. You can acquire more as well. You can get this. You can get max. Let's see, money 5. Yep, all these. So per 10 coins in your bag at the end. Oh, and I say bag. Again, if you're not retail, you'll have screens. If you are retail, you have the screens that you hide your money in, and you're hiding your money in this game. So if you did the deluxe, you might have these coin pouches. That was just an add-on. So if you see those, that's what that is. Retail will just be a screen that you're going to hide your money behind, because that's going to be a victory point value. At the end of the game, your lower value between your coins and your prestige is going to be your end game points. And this is other ways to add on to your victory points at the end of the game, is to have these deeds. Whenever you see that symbol, that's moving along the prestige board as well. When you see these, you're going to get an item whenever you see a chest, and you get a horseshoe whenever you see that. Also, all of your item glossary is here in the back of the rule book. So that will be handy. You'll be putting that face up to start your game so you can reference things over here. So let's go over what we're doing. So we have our board here. We start with a 1-face die, a 2-face die, and a 3-face die in this order. And on your turn, you're going to move up one of these blue dice and kick another one of these out. They're going to go follow a path into this top left spot. You notice there's another spot here. That's for an illuminated die. You can see all the lines underneath it. That's this die. I'm not able to put that in that slot just yet. That will take an action that I'll show later. But if I did that, let's say I kicked that one out and moved it up, I will trigger off the ability at this left side because the dice came from the left side. If I did the middle, we got a spot here, and the right, a spot here. So this one's saying I can craft an item of that value. In this case, it would be the value I just put in, which is a 2. So I look at the crafting chart, and I will get a potion from the craft. So that in that case, you would just take a potion from here, and you would go ahead and place it in this area here, where it's like a polyomino. You can see they're all different sizes, so you're fitting these in. The potion just happens to be one of the smaller ones right here, but the value isn't any smaller than other ones, unlike what you would think that maybe this would be more valuable. It's not necessarily. The market is over here and shows what everything is currently. So right now the instrument over here is actually the 5 points, so that would actually give you more coins if you were to sell to a hero. Anyway, we're going to go ahead and do that. So we crafted this. And now we're going to move our wagon 1 space because I have 1 pip on the dice I put up top. So we start here between the Ringway Inn and the Grand Bazaar, and I'll move 1. If I'm the white player, I'm just going to go over here. And when you do that, you can now choose either one of these actions. And we'll go over some actions. But that's what you're going to do every time. You're just going to go ahead and move 1 up. The abilities here, that's the crafting one I just went over. This one you can get a lantern or place your illuminated die, because you're going to roll these. So this value was determined by a dice roll. It is a 1. I can then place it. Doesn't mean I have to use it this turn, but I can now place it so I can use it in future turns. Or I can go to the right side where it says that I can go ahead and get 2 money, or I can rotate the wheel to mark it right there. So those are the basic actions. Now let's go to the board. All right, so this action here lets me rotate the wheel 1 time clockwise, and or go ahead and what was that? Move. You can move one of the dice to a spot that already has a dice. So I can make this gun and put this as a staff and just change this. You can never have more than 2, but I can go ahead and do that. So I can now purchase an item. And I can, if there's 2 on there, I can purchase for the cost of 1. So I can buy, in this situation, I can buy 2 staff for the cost of 1 because it's printed 1 right there and there's 2 of these. I would then reset the board. Here, I can go ahead and reset the board just means to re-roll these dice. They can never have more than 2 at a spot even when you re-roll. The Queen's Commissions, I can go ahead and pick up one of these orders for the places. There's a stack of every town over here. So I can go ahead and take one of these and put it in my supply. This will just go off to the left of your wagon, right over here. And you can see the same symbology. And this is for the heroes, which we'll get into. So I can go ahead and keep that. This is something I could deliver when I go to travel. If I were to go here, I could do the travel action. Or I can do that. Travel we'll get into last. So let's go to the dark market. Dark market, I can pay to move this sack, and again, this is a deluxe component, but you'll have a cardboard token here of a loot looking thing, a bag of money, and you're going to go ahead and move this 1 spot for every coin that you pay, and you'll get the items that are on there. In this case, it might be a deed or a commission. These are different loots right here. You just get those 2. Here is where you can get heroes. In this case, if you were to take a hero, you would have to pay any of these items. The more the better, because you're going to get the market value for whatever you drop off. So if you were to drop off all of these, you're going to look and see how much those cost, and you'll get the money for those. If you were to do it with quartz, or sorry, if you were going to do it with an upgrade, so if you were to able to upgrade it, that's a symbol like what you can see right here, for instance. This is how you can upgrade. So you can see there's a other side to these. So this is the basic side, and this is upgrade. It has like a nice gold tint to it. You can see that. So that means it's upgraded. If you were to sell it with an upgrade, you get a blazing quartz, which is a resource here, and you'll get 1 extra coin. That's what it's saying. And the quartz is good for different things. So that's what that does. So that's what all the actions do, except now we're going to go over the travel action. The travel action, you have 2 choices. You can go up top to the Ruins of Yin. You're going to roll a dice. You're going to go ahead and move this. This is, again, upgraded. So you can see that they're forming a square around a resource. That means you're going to get an upgraded version of a resource. You're going to move this as many times clockwise as there are heroes on that trip. And you're going to you can spend the lanterns to roll that dice as well to get a bonus. The other travel over here, you're going to announce where you're going to travel, and people can also come with you in this case. You have 2 choices. If you have 3 lanterns and want to spend 3 lanterns, you can take the light road, which we'll get into why that's beneficial. Or you can take the dark road and not spend any lanterns. To begin your trip, you're going to take one of those companions up there as well. You'll have an extra dice on the far right one, Grace up there. I probably can't see it on the board. Let me pull these down a little bit. These are the companions right here. There was 3 out on the board, just above the board, and you're going to take one of these. Grace was the far right one, so they have an extra die roll, which will help you in the next phase. But let's say I just took the Raven. Only the person that does the initial travel is the one that gets to take the companion. The people that go along with the initial traveler do not get the companion. So what do these do? Aside from the extra die on the far right one, these are spots right here where you can put the blazing quartz, and you can trigger off one of these 2 things. So if I put a blazing quartz on this, it stays there the rest of the game but I immediately get to do this, this is to roll the Oracle die, I believe they call, right here. Roll it and get the results. In this case, to get a hero. There's also 2 lanterns, 2 victory points, getting Queen's commissions, and so forth. That would be what that is. So I get a companion. I can spend the quartz now. I can spend it later if I have it. But they stay with you. And then you're going to announce where you're headed. So in my situation, I'm definitely going to want to go to Fargland because I have 2 things that say Fargland on it. I have a Queen's Commission here, and I have a person that wants to go there as well. So Mary here wants to go to Fargland. If I were to travel to Fargland, I would get 2 victory points for every person I drop off. So I'm going to get 2 victory points for dropping off her. And then if I have these items, I'll get victory points depending on how many I drop off. So if I did a book, a gun, and an armor, which is the 3 I can do max, I'll get 6 victory points. And their chart is listed right here. 1, 3, and 6, depending on how many treasures I went ahead and turned in. If they're upgraded, I'll get a bonus as well. And then, depending on which road I traveled, if I travel the light road, I will get 2 bonuses. If I traveled the dark road, I'll get 1. Also note that these cards here, if I decided to travel the light road, my opponents are going to get the first draft. So we have 2 travelers. That means we're rolling 2 of these dice. Let me grab these. I'm rolling 2 of these dice. Unless I grab that far right one, in which case I'm going to roll 3 because remember, they get a bonus. So if one person went with me, I'm going to roll 2 dice. If it's just me, I'm just going to roll 1. And my result right here shows what rewards or punishments I'm going to get. What did I face? So if we traveled, in this case, it's a light road, my opponent that traveled with me is going to be the first one to pick. At any time, one person can spend a lantern to do a re-roll as well. But as soon as you want to settle with what you get, you're going to go ahead and take one of those dice results and earn the rewards or punishments on these cards. Those are not much different between the light road and the dark one. It's just that you only get 1 bonus at the end if you do the dark road when you're the traveler. The people that come with you do not get that bonus at all. You have to be the one to instigate the travel action. Initiate, I should say. So then you get the bonuses, and those are listed right here too. You can get illuminated die, you can get a deed, you can get 3 coins it says, but if you're the first one you get 5 coins actually. Or you get one of these bonus tiles, which just helps you in different ways. You can see these are overlays to your wagon, so these generic actions can get covered up, and you can improve them for the rest of the game. So, like I said, that's the gist of it. You're just gonna keep going around, moving around your wagon, doing these different actions, traveling around, dropping people off, getting commissions, getting victory points. And again, the winner is going to be whoever has the most points, but it'll be the lower of your totals. It'll be the lower between the prestige that you're tracking and your coins. You'll get any bonus victory points at the end based on your deeds and so forth. That's going to determine who won the game. And that is a gist of how you play Merchants of the Dark Road. So we're going to go ahead and take it back up top and tell you what we think.
All right, we are back. Thank you, Nick, for the overview of how you play this game. You backed it, so what was your initial thoughts? Well, I know we did an unboxing video. You can check that out and see the awe that we had of some of the pieces. Really cool. Nick got the deluxe one.
Well, the first reaction is, hell yes, it's finally here. Merchants of the Dark Road. I've been waiting for this so long. I'm not sure, it's been 2 years? It's about that. And the quality did not disappoint. The one that we got, we have such great quality pieces. You're unboxing it, you're just in awe of the production. It rivals Tidal Blades for sure. It's for my favorite production that I own. Both of those games are a Kickstarter that we got them. So it is becoming the new norm for Kickstarters. You're overproducing these games. It doesn't need to be this nice, but it is, and it's delightful. So first impressions, very solid. What about you, Angie? You backed this as well. What was your thoughts when you got your copy?
I was very excited because I had very high expectations, with the Andrew Bosley art and everything that Elf Creek puts out with Atlantis Rising, Honey Buzz. The production is always, off the hook. And so I had very high expectations, was very excited to get it. I didn't get the metal coins and the fancy pouches like you,
Sure.
but even without that, I still really thought the production was amazing. So
Right.
high expectations when I first got it.
Sam, Vic, what did you guys think?
Well, I knew your excitement level was very high for it. It was in our list of most anticipated games. If you haven't checked that out, we have a video for that. So I knew you were interested in it. I didn't know much about the game. I wasn't sure exactly what to expect, but definitely when we opened that box up and I saw those components, I thought, well, this is going to have a really great table presence. And I actually took the time to learn the game ahead of Nick. Nick usually is the one that teaches games, so I decided to try. And, reading the rule book, I got really excited to play it because it didn't seem like it was too crazy complicated. It seemed approachable, although I wasn't I'll get into cons, but the rule book wasn't my favorite rule book. I was still able to feel excited about playing it as much as Nick was, the backer. Yeah.
Yeah, I did not know what to expect either. I knew absolutely nothing about this game. I knew he was super excited to get it. That's all I knew. And I knew it was just going to be like, it was coming in a big box. And so we played it. And yeah, I mean, it was not what I expected. I actually, I thought it was a pretty good game. And it was pretty fun. And I felt like, learning it was smoother than I thought it would be. Seeing it on the board or seeing it on the table was kind of like, there's a lot going on. But I felt like it was pretty good. Like, it was fun.
All right, who wants to start with pros? You want to start, Andrew?
Sure, yeah. Well, I mean, other than the production, which we've
Right.
already talked about being a pro, I think another pro is that I really like the theme. I like the this whole a day is spread out over across a year and it's winter time, so you have 13 weeks, which is 13 rounds of the game. And I really like the mesh of mechanisms. I know some people thought from what I've seen and read, there might be too many. I didn't really feel too overwhelmed with the different mechanisms that were thrown in there. So I thought it flowed really well. As you're going around the rondel and taking the different actions, I thought turns were relatively snappy. You just moving a dice up, you take the action, and then you're moving and performing the different district actions. The only time your turn is a little bit longer is when you travel. But I mean, other people can kind of join in on that portion of your turn, so it's not too bad if you're participating in the traveling. So I thought turns were relatively snappy. I did like the give and take where I might be able to focus on prestige, but then I can't forget about my money because at the end, whatever lower is my base score. So I really like that give or take because I can be really good on one area, but if I'm not well balanced, then I kind of fall at the wayside and lose all that effort that I've been putting forward. So I liked all the different aspects. I really enjoyed the different companions and what they brought to the table, and even with the little promos that get thrown in there from the Kickstarter, I really enjoyed some of the different heroes that get in there, the different steeds. And so everything had its own little place, and I thought it felt really, really cohesive when it was on the board for me. And so, yeah, that was a big pro for me, just how everything kind of flowed. Again, I agree, the rule book is not my favorite, and we'll get to cons in a little bit, but overall, I really like the mechanics. I really like how they all work together and kind of came together.
Yeah.
All right, we'll just keep rotating this way. What about Sam?
I would agree with Andrew on the theme. I thought the theme was cool. I also liked the artwork. Thought the artwork was also awesome. The pieces were cool. I like that you had your little carriage, that you would go around, and I did like that you could also travel with other people, so you didn't have to wait and hope that you could get there. You could travel with other people, so that was also a pro for me. Also, I felt like it did have a good amount of depth to it without it being too difficult to understand. So I did like that about the game. And the companions were a cool aspect of it as well. And I also like that you get your own, what was it, the one that you start with?
The steed?
The steed. That you get that at the beginning of the game, and that everybody has their own individual steed that gives you cool things. So yeah, I mean, overall, I felt like it was better than expected. And overall, it was just a good game.
Yeah, I agree. I was pleasantly surprised by a lot of aspects of it. I liked that you could travel with others, like you said, that was really great. And the fact that there's an adjacency, that if you're adjacent, not the person who went on the voyage, but if you're the joining in on it, you can go to a town that's beside it, so you don't have to wait on that exact town to be called up. And you could do more than one hero drop off there. You could really combo it up if you get. And it seems like things come to you so easily in this game. Like, I never felt like it was such a struggle or so difficult to get things. You're going around this really small area, and you can chain off adjacent areas with illuminated dice, using both dice, making the decision when you're going to do that, planning it out where you're pushing dice out. That's a whole other level of strategy that you're doing. So I thought that there was so much depth, like Sam said, without being something so crazy that it's beyond comprehension or people not really understanding what goals they're trying to achieve.
Yeah.
Because it's helpful to have those deeds there that are present out in front of you, and there's incentive to take more objectives too, because you're going to get more victory points, prestige points for moving up on that. And I just felt that there was so much opportunity in the game and so much that you can end up doing in it. So.
All right. Biggest pro for me, aside from the looks, which is probably the top,
Yeah.
because this is top tier looks, is the amount of choices, not in the actions you're doing, but when you're at one of the actions, you have a lot of choices. You can go for different heroes, whatever your goods are, you can rotate your ideas to the heroes that are out there. You can do that same thing with commissions. I like the choices you have there based on what you have or an objective you might have that might sway you one way or another. I, in general, tend to like objectives in games. So if you deal me an objective, I at least have some direction. I can pick and choose if I want to abide by that direction or not. And I like that in all kinds of games that do that. So right away, I'm liking those choices. I'm liking the abilities of the steeds. So they are situational. Some are going to be more appealing than others to you based on your game. You're going to find that maybe you don't use it at all. But it's still nice to have, and you're going to find some that actually really do help you. And there are certain, if you get an upgrade, there are upgrades in the game that work really nice. You can get another one that actually you did want, like instead of what you just got dealt, which happened to me last game. I was happy to have one. Hey, this is one I actually want. I can draft that. I had to pay my upgrade fee at the travel. That's what I used, not fee, but the bonus I got. So the decision space in that regard, I liked. So I'm just going to snake it back to the negatives, because a negative I have is despite having a lot of choices in an action, you don't have a whole bunch of actions. You have 5 actions you can choose. I wish, and there are different buildings out there that rotate. There's 5 of those. It's nice to have those. I want more. I want more choices, because the game at times just feels like I'm doing the same thing over. I'm getting the goods, and I can do it for money with the heroes, or I can go here and deliver the commissions. And unfortunately, that's not awesome. It's good. It's not. I can't say this game is awesome to me because of that. It feels like I'm just doing the same things, kind of. But there are things. I can come back to the things I like. Because I really only touched on one thing I like. I like the point thing that Andrew mentioned. There are games that do that. Crown of Amaro. I think Tigris and Euphrates does that, where you're going to take the lowest of your the lowest of the 2 tracks. Yeah. And I like that. Keeps it balanced. You can't OP one side or the other. So another thing I like, and yeah, I think that's my biggest negative though, is that I wish there maybe were some more tiles maybe you can replace on those, and maybe they're going to set up for an expansion to give you more choices. So I like the choices at the places. I have plenty of choices there. I can do 4 different heroes, or I can top deck. I can do 6 different commissions out here. I like that. I just want more places. I just want more choices of places I can go. Obviously, I'm going to mention another negative, since we all 4 of us just played the game. And I was stuck. I rolled blanks my last roll. So I had 3 blanks and no horseshoes. So I am basically like just sitting there for 3 turns, and I can't do anything about it. And that hurts. That hurts. So it is what it is. It's a lot of good and some negative there. So what about you guys? I'll pass it to Vic.
Yeah, I forgot to mention as a pro, I also like the symbology of this game. I thought that things were pretty generally clear. You could deduct like what they were trying to say, like in the symbol. It wasn't too crazy, but they also had a good reference if you weren't exactly sure. Then you had to like reconfirm, is that really what it's saying? So the symbology was really strong. In terms of cons, I feel the same way that Nick does, in terms of it does feel repetitive, that you're going around doing a lot of the same things, even though there's the heroes and the commissions that you're doing. They're really the same kind of idea. Like in some way, you're giving up these goods. So there's no, you're going to get money for these heroes, so that's interesting, versus the points or the commissions. So there is totally that distinction. But yeah, I agree with Nick on that, where it did feel that way, and that you can kind of see how everything is going to play out. And maybe that's where the emphasis is on the planning, that you can see these dice, but if you have a lot of the same numbers or all low numbers, it does certainly, it can feel like it does the same stuff over and over again.
Well, and I'm not to interject or anything, but if you do have all three of the same in those locked positions, if they are all the same, you do get to change it to 1, 2, and 3.
Yeah, and I was gonna say that, but I wasn't sure, so I didn't want to.
I think it was blank. I think it was 3 blank blank. So I used my 3 because I wanted to, and then I'm stuck.
Right, and then the other 2 are blank, so you're stuck for the
That's
next
So you've
correct.
only got
I
2
think that's
left.
what it was.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you were
So I'm
stuck.
stuck there.
Yeah.
Right.
So I'm stuck there technically for 3 actions because I used my 3 to get there.
Right.
Blank blank. So that's 3
Right,
actions. That's what I
right.
meant.
Yeah.
It would be nice if you did have 2 of the same. You could, like, at the end, if you could make it like a 1 and a 2 or something. You know what I mean? Like the
Something.
same
Yeah.
something to kind of
But
help
you
you.
just
Or
gotta
pick
have-
whatever number you want, maybe.
Yeah, you just gotta have a horseshoe, and that's that. It's kind of like in Icky we played together, and you could at the end you could just jump wherever you want. That'd be nice. Something like that. Just that'd
Right.
fix the problem right there. I'm done. Cool.
Right.
But, yeah.
Right.
What about you saying? What's a negative?
I think the dice rolling in itself can kind of suck because, you're stuck with what you get. Unless you happen to have all 3 of the same, and then you can change it to 1, 2, 3.
Right.
But you really have to pre-plan. Like you really have to be like, okay, I'm thinking 2, 3 turns ahead. And when other people are going, that's when I was kind of like looking to make sure, okay, what am I going to do next? Like, actually, what are the next 2 turns that I'm going to take? Because I need to make sure I play the right dice. So that kind of is a negative. Obviously, if you roll crap, then, I'm just going to be honest, then it's going to be hard for you, depending on how you can mitigate that. But, and I would say another negative for me, I don't know, I'm torn though. Is it I'm kind of like in the middle with the taking the lowest of your scores, the money or the prestige. And whatever's the lowest is what you get. And so I kind of like that just because you really don't know who wins the game until the very end. So it's kind of like a surprise, which I like that in games where, you see other people, they may be far on prestige, but that doesn't necessarily mean they're going to win. So you have to balance. I kind of like that you have to balance the money along with the prestige, but that can also be a negative as well. So if you do have a lot less money, then you're kind of like, oh man, I did good on the prestige, but I had less money, so I'm way down. So I'm kind of in the middle with that. I don't know. But yeah, that's all I'd say for my cons.
Yeah. My con that probably bugs me the most, it happens with the traveling. For me, when you're trying to decide, do I want to go on the shortcut or I want to go on the dark road, I wish there was a little bit more to that than just grabbing some travel dice, chucking it, and either paying the cost or gaining the benefit. I feel like if I'm going on the dark road, I should be encountering something maybe a little bit more exciting rather than just chucking dice. Because really all you're doing is, do I want to take the shortcut? Because it's not like you have better rewards if you spend 3 lanterns. It's kind of luck of the draw.
Oh, yeah.
Taking the dark road, you have the same, you could get a bad card and you might only be able to get 2 dice that are going to give you benefits and the other 4 are bad. And you can get the same thing for the shortcut. So the event cards you're getting don't really seem that much different from the shortcut versus the dark road.
I actually thought that when we were playing. Not to interrupt you, but I actually did think that. And I was like, but what's the point of taking the light road and giving up all your lanterns when it is essentially
Well, and what
you're
what you're really coming down to is, do I want 1 good fortune or 2 good fortunes?
Yeah.
If I take the shortcut, I get 2 good fortunes, which are really nice because you can get illuminated dice, you can get more deed cards that give you more victory points, even more money, and even being able to get those upgrades, which are really nice. Especially if you have the steed that lets you take multiple upgrades, And so I just wish there was a little bit more excitement when I was traveling. I did like getting the companions. I would like to, and so I liked that whole process. I think it was the event cards that I really wish were a little bit more interactive. Maybe I could use my heroes to fight off something. I don't know, something like that.
Yeah.
Instead of them just kind of sitting there in the wagon.
And what are your thoughts on the ruins? I went to the ruins literally once when we played, and I'd like to know what everyone's thoughts were because I felt bad for the spot, so I was like, oh, maybe I'll go there just to see what's going on because it gives you an upgraded good, and then you can roll a dice for chance.
Well, for me, in a couple games that we played it a few times now, and I went there my first game quite a bit because I really liked the companions, and I had cards where it's like, and I actually had it again this last time we just played, where you get prestige based on how many of those blazing quartz that you gift.
Yeah.
And so I would go there to get those gifted ones because then whenever I sell them to the heroes, I get those blazing quartz. However, this round I got the upgrade, where every time I craft, it's an upgrade. So I was like, I don't really have to go there because I don't need them because I can just craft them. Mm-hmm. I do like that little dice though, because you can get like extra bonuses, kind of like the one building that lets you roll a special dice.
The oracle dice.
Right, but again, you have to spend lanterns unless you have the upgrade.
Right. I thought it was cool, just being able to do something different. If, say, you go there and you're like, I don't want to travel, then that was like another option.
Yeah,
so, you could get like free things and roll the dice and stuff. I kind of wish there was just maybe more to it.
Yeah, it's not very exciting to go there.
Yeah, so I felt like the games we played before with me and you, like I feel like I went there more often than when we played, but yeah, I mean, I think there could have been more to it.
It's nice that there's an option for it, but that space is garbage. So it's like I didn't even want to bring it up. It's like, you know what? I didn't want to complain and say there's not enough spaces, and then to say this wasn't space that they added. It's nice, it's there, but it's garbage to me.
Yeah,
I
I
don't like
know
that space.
you didn't seem very enthused.
Well, I played 3 games. I didn't go once.
Yeah.
Right? That was good. Upgraded. Nah, I'm good. Thanks.
Yeah.
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 There it is.
So score time. Why don't we go for that? You want to start with yours?
Sure.
what's your
so
score?
let's go. I'm trying to think. Do I want to recap every little thing that we've done? What's the pros? What's the negatives? Well, let's just get the score. I'm going to go 7-9 on this one. Not quite an 8. I was teetering between there and 8. I'm going to go 7-9. It's not quite an 8 for me just because of the lack of, for the production that I'm getting. All this stuff, all this awesome stuff. And I'm trying not to let that influence my score because technically that is something that I consider.
Yeah.
Without this, I don't know what my score would be. Maybe a 7.5-ish or so. But with all this amazing stuff, I love it on the table. I love everything that I'm seeing. It raises that a little bit. But you're getting all this good stuff. It should be more stuff I can pick from, more cool stuff, more awesome buildings. I want like a feast for Odin out here. I want a bunch of choices. It's not there. So 7-9, still a really positive score because I enjoy the game. I look forward to my plays. I do. I really, truly do. Mm-hmm. It's just that it's maybe my disappointment that's coming through. It's like this could have been better.
Had the potential, yeah. So I think that goes to how I would give the game to. I scored it an 8.2. It was hard for me to bring it to the 8 as well. I was thinking about 7.7, 7.8, and then I'm like, you know what? For the game's approachability, for the fact that you can play this game with people who are not, crazy into the hobby. I think they would still need to have some exposure. I'm not saying this is a beginner game. That's not at all what I'm saying. But I think it's a graduation game that after they've gone through a couple tiers of games, you can really drop this one. It has a nice production, so you'd want to bring it out for people to play. Okay. And so for that reason, you can show people a game that has more to offer than some people expect with games. So I think that for that reason, that's a big redeeming quality on it. And I enjoy playing with Nick. If Nick wanted to play, I'd certainly play with him. I don't think it's a crazy brain burner. It does get more dicey about certain decisions you're making towards the end. But I like that it isn't too heavy. I don't feel it's too crazy of a game for me to sit down and play.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think it could be more intriguing, too, for people that, they play games, but bigger games intimidate them. I think this would be a good game where, it looks cool. And so they'd be like, oh, I'm interested in it. So, I liked it more than I thought I would. Honestly, I didn't really know what to expect. And after we played it, we played it a couple times, I was like, oh, I really like this game. So I'm going to give it a 7.8 for me.
Okay. So for me, there was a couple little things I wanted to add in there, and I completely agree with Vic that this is kind of a little bit step up. It's definitely not a beginner game, but if you're into the hobby, this isn't really that hard to grasp. I think the part that makes it kind of a hurdle to even get into is that rule book. None of us really mentioned it, but that rule book is not that
forgot
good
to,
at
yeah.
all. And so, I mean, there's just bits and pieces that you're like, wait, where's this at? And you can't find it. And eventually you just have, like the crafting chart that we talked about is like it references it, but it never actually labels it anywhere until you go to the back of the book. And I was like, well, I was
And
already.
the pictures that they show, like on the purchasing stuff on the market, and it doesn't
Right.
even show the values, or like there's
Right.
it's the wrong picture to show what you're describing. Or if you're going
Right.
to show one picture, then show the other picture, like the after or something, stuff like that.
Yeah, you kind of have to piece it together. Like
Yeah.
it's kind of a broken rule book that once you do piece together everything, you can make it flow pretty well. So I definitely agree. But I think the main hurdle of getting into the game is the rule book, honestly. And so I did have an opportunity also to play this solo, which I really did enjoy. It's really quick and easy and simple. You just flip a card, and it tells you where the little carriage goes, and then you do the action that it has there. And the symbology is really easy to follow. And I'm excited to actually even try the adventures that they have, because they have like a little adventure that's like a 4-game campaign kind of thing that adds in some additional, I guess, content that you can play with. So I am excited to explore that and kind of see that a little bit more. And so for me, I gave this an 8.3. So I was really on the teeter. This is the first time me and you have gone outside of the flats or the half point. So 8.3. I wanted it to be a 9, or I mean, my expectations were like, this is going to be a 10, this is going to be a 9.5. So after the rule book, and there's just the issues that we brought up, I'm hoping they fix some of these issues if they come out with an expansion, which I assume at some point they will. I mean, they've come out with expansions for Atlantis Rising that's coming out. Honey Buzz has one that's coming out. I'm hoping Dark Road gets a little bit of love and tweak some of these issues, and maybe even fix that rule book for us. That would be great. So yeah, so for me, it's an 8.3.
Nice, and the solo. That's good to hear that. I wanted to ask you how the solo worked. So it's good to hear it's a simple upkeep,
Right.
flipping a card and doing the thing. Because solo, if you're a solo player, you want it to be as simple. So that's great news. If you were buying this for a solo experience, it might actually be applicable.
And I feel like the
money.
solo, because the private concern, I feel like their turns are pretty much just as fast, if not quicker than yours when they take their turn,
Cool.
which is nice.
Awesome.
Yeah. Well, that is our overview and review of Merchants of the Dark Road, the Kickstarter edition. Thank you so much for joining us today. We hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please click the like button and subscribe to our channel for more great reviews. We'll see you next time.
Bye-bye.
Bye.